Welcome to Toffee TV. It is live at 5. Me and Ned. Just trying to think of what there is to talk about today. What's happening with the England squad?
I've not seen it yet, so that should be
No.
on 5:15, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're linked with James Carragher.
Are we?
Jamie Carragher's son, you
Oh,
know.
that's because Con Uzanadis is leaving, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's what, 21
He's
now,
leaving,
isn't
and
he? They're making room for James Carragher.
yeah, that's what it is. And obviously, so we've got the
Well, it's been quiet. I've been waiting for some
got
sort
the
of
Godfrey
transfer news.
stuff. So
That'll be interesting to find out whether he's in the squad or not. That's the most anticipated thing so far.
what's happening in the comments?
Jay Munsey says amazing news. Have we signed James Carragher? Do you know what? We said at the end of the season, we hope that, you know, at least Everton can't break our hearts now.
Yeah.
And if Godfrey doesn't get called up for England, that will be a
That would be that. I think if Godfrey didn't get called up, I think
Yeah.
I'd be worried about the situation. I'm just thanks to Ned for making me a cup of coffee and my favourite Carlo Fantastico mug. These are available.
One last coffee.
These are available right now if you want one.
One last coffee is manager.
I don't.
Goodbye, Carl.
They might be on sale. They might be on sale.
Should we flog him?
I might see if I might get on
Willing to trade.
Real Madrid fan TV.
Willing to trade for any Eddie Howe mugs. Marcus Cooper
Potter
says,
mugs.
Marcus Cooper, much happening this evening, lads. No
It's all
idea.
happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all happening. Let us know your thoughts.
It's just come.
It does seem Carlo Ancelotti has signed a 3-year deal at Real Madrid. And do you know what? We're in our shorts and we shouldn't have to deal with this kind of things while we're in our shorts.
I'd much rather be here than out there. Have you seen my...
No, but we shouldn't have to deal with it. We should be able to sit here while it's sunny.
Be excited
and
about
be thinking about transfers and
now we're worried about
stability and all those things. And
well, do you think that's the good thing about having a man like Marcel Brands at the club who's still got this direction where Everton need to go and what the players we need to sign?
Yeah. I mean, whether people like Marcel Brands or not, Marcel Brands is the guy who's supposed to keep everything running, and it shouldn't matter who the manager is or how many times you change the manager. I mean, if you look at the Chelsea situation, Chelsea can just get rid of a manager every time they want, and because the situation in the background is so good that that's what it's supposed to be, and that's why they've gone and won the Champions League.
Well, it's as if for years, and I say this without Frank Lampard in mind, Chelsea have gone for managers that if they come to us like Carlo, we say, like they're unsackable managers, like the big, like the massive managers for the club we are at the moment. So they can happily go and they can happily sack Conte a year after he's
It has been confirmed, by the way, that Ben Godfrey isn't in the England squad, just in case anyone wanted to know that. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Jordan Pickford are.
But for us now, we'll be going back to that square one off, or it'll be an upcoming manager, because we're not going to go out and get another big name now, is there?
There aren't any big names that fit.
Mourinho's gone Roma, so that's one I could have maybe saw if he hadn't gone Roma.
There aren't any
similar, like
there aren't any
Atletico.
big names that fit the profile of Carlo Ancelotti that are in that stage of management career. I mean, for God's sake, Real Madrid are taking him. I mean, that shows that he's still wanted. So there aren't any out there. There's names, but they wouldn't fit because some of them have still got enough fuel in the tank where they wouldn't come to Everton. But at some stage, I think at some stage we have to start looking at why managers don't stick around at Everton, good or bad. You know, has Carlo seen the plans and just gone?
It's tricky because I've seen people calling him a whatever. You can think of him what you like, but it's Real Madrid and we're Everton.
No, I know, I get that, right, and that's fine. I have no problem with him leaving Everton Football Club. Real Madrid.
That's just what happens if you get a big name and you don't move along with them.
But that's what I'm saying. I always say this about players, about matching ambition. Well, it's not. Don't look at it like that when I say that. What I mean is that we're going to be onto another manager.
Yeah.
Right, another manager. When David Moyes left in 2013, this will be another manager, and
and it's after shut.
But what does that say about the people who are picking the manager, who are running the club? What does that say about them, that we've gone through all of these managers? When you crave stability, and we are where we are now.
Well, it's as if you go one end of the stick, you get a manager like Martinez or Silva, and it's a calculated risk because they're on the up, and they haven't done it at a club like Everton before. They've been to a Wigan or a Wolves or a Southampton. Obviously, Koeman finished 7th with Southampton. And then the other end of the stick, you go get a big name, and if you finish 10th like Everton did this season, and it's just, there's nothing there, and then Real Madrid comes along, it's how can you turn it down?
We're a little bit like, you know.
I suppose the thing with David Moyes is he's not a manager who I know Man United came knocking, he went to there, but he was with us for, 11 years? So the stability thing, the reason you'd go back to David Moyes is it's the stability thing, not we can get us where Ancelotti is. Because the thing with Ancelotti was he's going to stay with us, he'll be stable, so by the time we're at in the new stadium, back-to-back European football or Champions League football. But now it's just...
But I think a lot of people thought that was going to be the case with Carlo. I think a lot of people thought...
That's what I thought was...
A lot of people thought that no one was ever going to come calling for Carlo. He was done with the hierarchy of European football. He would stick around because we would never sack him. He would be a big name to tempt players in like he has done with James Rodriguez. And it was like almost like the perfect fit for that case. But obviously, Real Madrid, I've had other thoughts. Think he's the right man, and it leaves us again wondering where we go next.
That's no saying as well. Carlo could have been, in Carlo's mind, a week ago. Not a week ago, but this could have been his final job. He's come to Everton. It's a challenge, and then he'll retire after hopefully a successful few years at Everton. He'll enjoy retirement. But then Real Madrid come knocking, and there's always going to have that bit of hunger.
One thing I would say is, at least they give us the bank holiday. At least they let us have the bank holiday, like a nice bank holiday, nice and sunny, no worries, not thinking about Everton.
I'm just waiting for my email saying the goalkeeper kit is available for pre-order now.
Well, you know, the goalkeeper kit's available for pre-order anyway, but the point being is that, anyway, read some of the comments on Patreon. Let's get into
Jay
them.
Munsey, oh hi by the way, lol. Hi Jay. Gary Ward says howdy. Gareth Hughes, this is good publicity for me to be linked with Real Madrid, but it's not true, he said. I am really happy to stay here, he said. We have difficulties, of course, but I feel good at Everton, and my target is to make Everton better and better every year. Quote less than 2 weeks ago, this is what rankles and makes me lose my respect. Why say anything at all? You might have been happy to stay here, but then when they truly come knocking and it's all flash in your face.
I think you're very naive if you think
it's football. It's a mug's
if you
game,
think managers and footballers don't lie. I mean, if you're getting asked point blank range about...
Plus, it's like poker, isn't it? If you say to Real Madrid, I'm happy here because I'm on 11 million a year contract, let's say, well, we'll give you 20 million if you're that happy.
Maybe. I listen to managers all the time and I hear them lie. And I can't understand why people think they're not lying. It's a game of lying. It's a game of saying so-and-so's fit this week and he's not, or the opposite way down.
It's like poker, isn't it?
It is. It's just lying. Like they just lie. Why tell the truth when you can just go round it? That's what I'd say. So, yeah.
Mike Barrett. So, lads, looks like I'm in the market for a new mug. I mean, there's quite a bit of selection on the Toffee TV shop, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
James Pirri, I feel sad that we're losing the only world-class manager I've seen us have in our history, but I'm not at all surprised Carlo has decided that he can't fulfil his ambitions with Everton. Ultimately, we just don't have the players able to play under a Carlo Ancelotti, and their under-par performances have costed yet another manager. I hope that we can have a new manager to give us an Everton identity back. But once again, there is a lot of work to be done. To be fair, James, I get what you're saying with why would he want to manage the squad he's had now, so after watching some of the performances he had. But honestly, he could have finished fourth. He could have done like a David Moyes and finished fourth or something. I don't know, David Moyes didn't finish fourth. But he could have got into the top four, had a really good season. Unless Everton were like a back-to-back Champions Leagues club that were like finishing top 3 every season, he'd be gone anyway. So don't worry about that. The squad's rubbish anyway.
All you can hope with the squad is that kind of thing was in the hands of
brands,
and
that they know what they're doing.
And they know what they're doing, and that's the continuity we need for the coming season. And whoever manager comes in as the manager just takes over that baton. The problems are the same problems that they were under Carlo. Of the the problem is now we'll have a manager who will have 4 different managers, players, and his own. That's the worst thing. But let's hope that there's a continuity. If they were signing someone before, let's hope they're still signing that player now. Now, obviously, beforehand, there was the player would have, I'm going to be working under Carlo Ancelotti. That factor, that's gone now. So it depends who that factor is now. If it's a factor, if Everton relying on that factor, I don't know.
Well, before it's like, look, we've got a new stadium. Carlo's the manager. Look where we're going. Now it'll be like, look, £100 here.
Well, it was a safety net for us as well, wasn't it? It was a safety net for us as fans of going. We could point to Carlo Ancelotti and say, look what he's done. That means we're going to go somewhere. But the simple fact is, we can't now, and maybe that'll bring an element of realism into it. Farhad Moshiri's never hid from the fact that he wanted a Hollywood manager. Well, he's tried a lot of different ones. I just hope, I suppose I'd like Marcel Brands to take charge of that now, if that's his job, and get rid of the idea of, there was this thing when Silva came in that it was Brands' choice, but it was predetermined before Brands came in. He might have gone, I don't mind him or whatever, but what we need someone to come in who straight off it gets the club, who isn't afraid of the club, isn't afraid of the fans, isn't afraid to be himself. Silva, my problem with Silva is he was never confident enough to put himself into it. When he was asked to speak and stuff,
he just wasn't a manager, was he? He'd be a great head coach, great first team coach, but he just wasn't a manager. And I suppose that's the thing with David Moyes. It'd be less of a calculated risk, as we said before. He's someone who knows the club, he knows the fans. I know the first time he was here, obviously he sat with Bill and made all the signings, but I don't think it leaves no.
But I think it's got to be. That's why it's got to be someone who gets the club. I mean, I know people have mentioned already going back in for David Moyes, and I know he was the person who probably would have got it if Carlo hadn't. But obviously he's at West Ham. He hasn't got a contract, so that would make it easier. But he was set to sign a contract. Duncan Ferguson. Some people, there's an element of continuity there.
He would be my choice.
He gets it. They've got to be someone that, like, straight off the bat, people are excited about. There's far too many names where people are like, you look at someone like Eddie Howe. How could anyone at a football club like Everton, who've got ideas of where we want to go, get excited about a manager whose last job in England was to get the team relegated? I'm not asked about who they are or what they were. They got relegated. That was the Martinez thing. Got the team before relegated.
And it's not like they'd played nice football. They couldn't even sort out the defence.
But they come to the club, and at first it's all great. They get the club, they buy into it. They're all smiles. Why wouldn't they be there at a club like Everton? But when it starts to go wrong, which every manager will have a difficult spell. Carlo Ancelotti just come off a difficult spell. Every time it goes wrong, they've got to be able to deal with that. David Moyes, when he was our manager, he could deal with the bad parts brilliantly, as well as the good parts. That's what made him such a good manager. I don't know whether he'd survive now in a Twitter era, but he could deal with it. He knew how to steer through the rough seas to get to the calmer waters. That's what we need. We need someone who can come in and straight away people go, safe pair of hands, can do the job, I'm excited, whatever it is.
That was the thing with Carlo. Before Carlo, we'd have a really bad performance, and it's on the manager. But with Carlo, you've got an unbelievably good manager, and he was with us. Some of those tactical performances we put on was no other manager would have gone to Anfield and won. I don't think. Some of those games, I know some games were tried to play a bit more nice football, attacking football, and didn't go down very well. But with Carlo, you see most of the blame goes on the players then. But if you go and get an Eddie Howe, and we put a really bad performance, you couldn't tell whether it's the players or the management because we don't know that he's that good of a manager.
No, it's and the problem is you need someone big enough to come in and be able to deal with all these different managers, all these different players who've played under different managers. There's a lot of players in our team that, when you look at them, you think a lot of them have down tools or they've worked for someone like Carlo. So therefore, how could they work for somebody who's not of that ilk? And that again is a big problem. Everton have to be fast here, by the way. They have to be fast and they have to be bold and they have to know who they're going for. And they have to be single-minded as well. If they want somebody, go and get them. Funny enough, seeing the shortlist before, or a shortlist that came off the Athletic, and a name that was on it was Steven Gerrard. And we were talking before, we were doing a live over on Patreon, and we were talking about it, saying Steven Gerrard would be absolutely perfect if he wasn't Steven Gerrard. He'd be absolutely perfect. You look at him as a manager, you look how his record in the Premier League, of years playing in it, what he won, he'd be perfect if he wasn't Steven Gerrard.
A man who despises Everton.
It's not even that he despises Everton, we despise him.
Yeah.
And that's the top bottom of it. He could despise Everton all he wants, and we despise him. So, but he's the kind of manager that you'd look at and going, oh, he's got all the credentials, when you look at him. But
can you imagine them as well?
I'm not asked. I couldn't care less. It wouldn't be that kind of thing for me. But there is no real. Look at Leicester with Brendan Rodgers. There's no one out there like Brendan Rodgers at the moment that you go, oh, he'd be perfect for us. There's nobody I can see at the top of the Championship. We'd probably be linked with the guys at Barnsley did such a good job, but could he handle coming to Everton? Could he handle our fans? Could he handle the expectation of our fans? It's not that the expectation will go up. What'll happen is that there's a desire, there's a hunger there, because again, as fans, we're frustrated. I mean, we only got to see Carlo in the flesh as a manager for like 3-4 months. We've never seen James Rodriguez. There's an internal anger within Evertonians that drives us.
2.5 months it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it never comes out. I mean, how many all games did we actually get to see Carlo? 5, 6?
Burnley, United,
Newcastle.
City was away, Newcastle at home,
Crystal Palace, Manchester United at home.
3-1 Palace.
It's not that many. Yeah. So we've hardly seen him, not seen James Rodriguez. So we've had this taste of something that we really liked, and it's been taken away from us in typical Everton fashion. Get back in the comments, grab a couple of good ones.
Andrew Ryan, at the end of the day, Ancelotti's objective for the season was Europe. He failed at this, he failed at Everton. Even though I was 100% behind Ancelotti, no other manager would have survived the season.
Did he fail? Hang on. Did he fail? We got 59 points, which is better. The
best season since Ronald Koeman finished 7th.
He's got the 3rd highest win percentage in Everton history. The 3rd highest in Everton history.
Isn't it mad? I
know the sample size is smaller, but Howard Kendall and Harry Catterick, who both won league titles, are the only people ahead of him. Yeah, and I stress it's a low win percentage, but he's the 3rd highest with 46.5. Catterick's was 46. Catterick's was 46.5. His was 46.3. I don't think he did fail. I think I'm of the opinion that this squad is awful. So from my point of view, I don't think he failed. People might differ on that, but I think the facts are that win ratio is better than suggested.
Do you think that it's mad that before Ancelotti we said the best we can go and get Rafa Benitez is the best we can get, and now we've had Carlo? It's like, I don't want any of those. I want Conte.
That's the problem, mate.
I want Sarri.
You've gone to a Bosch restaurant.
I want Allegri.
You've gone to a Bosch restaurant. You've had a little taste of the starter.
Not the nice
you've been dragged out before your main course, and they've stuck you to Greg's. Greg's is fine if you want just something to just fill your belly, and the worst thing is we'll end up with the Pound Bakery.
Just all pastry.
So this is at the moment this is the bookies, and this will tell you this list is terrifying. 4-1, Rafa Benitez. 6-1, Eddie Howe. 9-1, Frank Lampard. 10-1, Joachim Low, which isn't a bad shout. 12-1, Conte, no chance.
No, never.
12-1, Gallardo. 12-1 Pereira. What? Again? 14-1 Nuno. 16-1 Jurgen Klinsmann. Where did he dig these up? I'm sure they get the old ones. 16-1
Ajax.
16-1
David Moyes.
Roberto Martinez.
No. I've seen a few people want him back. One season when he came in and he kept the Moyes style of play. Just remember the Moyes defending style of play. But just remember the last 2 seasons how brain dead he was as a manager. Yeah, he's probably gone into better things anyway. Those Koeman.
And yet he's been linked with Spurs and Barcelona and other top clubs.
The job he's done with Belgium, but international football is a different game. Well, Georgie says, let's go and get Bielsa from Leeds.
No.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine coming to a club that's got no pace?
The problem is
no
with
runners,
Bielsa, right, is he has crafted that Leeds team over the last 3 years. He's crafted it first year in the Championship. We need a whole new, basically, setup. And I'm not like dismissing the shout. He's a good manager. I don't know how he's got the knees he's got, by the way.
I was going to say
he's a good manager.
The only thing is crafted.
He's good manager, but
he's had Tony Stark on them knees.
But no, not because
it's not for me.
I honestly think that he'd look at our squad and just laugh his head off at it.
AJ, no, Everton never failed to ruin days. Do we, even after the season's over? Do you think we'll ever have a stable 2 years? Just 2 years.
But that's all we want, isn't it? That's the irony of it. That's what Baz often says. All he wants is 2 years. Forget about trophy. No, forget about trophies. Forget about Europe. All he wants is 2 years where there's no drama. Where you have one season and then the next season, and you go from being 10th to 8th, but everything stays the same, and you're building a team and you're growing. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. It's a case of, how can we get anywhere as a club if we can't, this is 18 months we've had this guy. Before that, we had a guy for 18 months. Before that, we had a guy
less than 18 months.
For 7 months.
Yeah.
Before that, we had a guy for 18 months. Yeah, we did. Before that, we had a guy for 3 years. And before that, we had a guy for 11 years.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? We need to go back. And this is why I was adamant this summer, leave Carlo, don't touch Carlo, leave Brands in, get them in for 3 years and let's see what they start building. And we were all saying in all our videos we've made so far was, let's see what we do this summer. Let's see if we've learned the lessons from the last few years, because this season we're going to see where we're going. And now that's just been thrown up in the air, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah. And you might not like this.
Oh, controversial.
But it's like an earthquake destroying your house. What can you do? You can't blame you can't blame Everton, and you can't really blame Carlo, can you?
I like the sentiment. I like the sentiment, but
you can blame Carlo.
You'd still be massively pissed off if someone knocked down your house, wouldn't you? You're not going to sit there and go, well,
who can you blame? It's like,
it's not about blaming. There's always doesn't have to be blame, whether blame is a claim. Doesn't always have to be blame. Things can happen.
Can we put a claim in?
I'm not being funny. You can hit your finger with a hammer. You still, it's an accident because you've done it yourself. You're still going to be in pain, aren't you? Well, you're at with yourself with a hammer.
Depends what the hammer's made of.
Check YouTube, the comments for the super chat.
Oh, Mitchell with a super chat, £5. Cheers, Mitchell. What's Piv saying, Ped? Is Gasparini a possibility?
Piv sent me a list before.
Piv, when we got Ancelotti, was like, big name. Piv loves young, hungry people.
What Piv loves is a certain way of doing things, because that's the way he does things. And he gave me a list before of people who were available, right? So this is the list of people who are available. Favre, who left Dortmund. Fonseca, who's leaving Roma. Valverde, Sarri, Conte, Lampard, Yardem, Vieira, AVB and Howe. They're available, right? But he said ones to consider as well are Gallardo and Ruben Amorim. So they're the ones he's mentioned to me. I asked them for some, interesting takes.
Well, Joe Bloomin over on YouTube says put Big Duncan back in charge.
Well, listen. If Duncan got it, he'd get it. As in, that would be it. He'd be the manager. I think it's now. Now would be the time.
Now or never.
It's now or never. No, it's not never. But he'd have to go away. If he didn't get it now, he'd have to leave the club, I think, and go and get a job somewhere as the manager and do a couple of years somewhere.
Imagine if Everton had a second club we owned and we could just send him there in America or Scotland or something just to look after a club for a couple of years, take some of the kids with him.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a great idea. Not that we've had that idea a million times on this channel, but Dunk could have to, if Dunk didn't get it this time, I imagine he'd have to leave Everton if he ever wanted it. He could continue being a coach at the club, continuity and all the rest of it. I doubt he'd be the assistant manager, but he might be the coach, but he might feel like this is the time if he wasn't given the job. I'm sure he'll put in for it. He'll probably think with his experience, with his knowing the squad, the continuity, knowing what they're looking for, how the squad is. Duncan, I think, would do things slightly different from Carlo. I think he'd expect more higher tempo football.
He's got the best experience as a coach in the Premier League.
Well, he has, and he's also been
best badges.
He's also come in as the Everton manager. He knows what he knows what the expectation is. Listen, I'm not sitting here saying he should get the Everton job. I'm really not saying anyone should get the Everton job because I honestly...
We want Carlo as the Everton manager. But...
I'm just sitting here now as someone who just... I'm just going to let it play out. I can't be arsed with getting me heart broken again. But Duncan, I would imagine, would either get the job or leave. And create something. That's what's saying about Steven Gerrard. When I look at Gerrard, I look what he's done at Rangers and he's in complete control of the narrative of that club. Forget about your directors of football and all that, you could have that. But you can tell that he's in charge. When you see him in press conferences, oh my God, he's got the journalists in the palm of his hands because they look at him and they're in awe of him and they know they can't, because he'll have it out with them and he's always the winner. And I look at that and I think there's a bit of David Moyes, there's a bit of Alex Ferguson in there. And I look at him and go, you're always in charge. When a situation's happened, he's had situations with people like Morales and people like that. He's always in charge. When Morales was linked with Leon, I think, last year, and he was like, no, he'll go if I say he goes. And he's always in charge. And I look at him and I'm very impressed by him as a manager. Liverpool get a great manager. And I'd love to get someone like that. Now, I don't know if that's Duncan because we haven't seen him in that situation. And people will say it's too big of a gamble to put him in charge. But obviously it would never be Steven Gerrard as the Everton manager. And I'm certainly not saying should go for him. But that's what I look at as what I would love as the manager, the Super Chat.
Well, Rafa was always good at the mind game as well, wasn't he? That Russian kid, 00 on the Super Chat. Cheers, mate. He says Sean Dyche. No. He's a perfect Burnley manager.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Plus, imagine Burnley if he left, they'd be in bits. Joe Wilton. Oh, hi, Moisey. Pete McCoy. Generally don't know where we go from here. Carlo didn't exactly set the world alight, but I feel that was down to the players more than him. True. I just feel like we're constantly in limbo. Yeah. Don't know which direction we're going in. It's hard to keep finding the positives in our club.
Well, yeah, let me just read this out, right? This is... Baz is on holiday, but he's tweeted this in the last half an hour. And he said, for me, in the last 18 months, the only real time I felt properly connected to the club was when Duncan Ferguson was in charge, especially against Chelsea. I just want to identify with them again. Maybe we just stop messing about and give it to Dunk. At least he gets us.
There's this thing with Dunk, like he's all passion, but Dunk he's got the highest coaching badges. He's not Duncan Ferguson, the player. He knows he's got a tactical plan, hasn't he? He's had 18 months under Carlo.
Football
side of it, he'd be a good manager. He's a good coach.
The thing about
It's just like
I've no idea. I've no idea if he'd be a good coach or not. I really don't. I've no idea whether he'd be a good coach or not. I think what Baz is saying there is that when Duncan was in charge of those games, fans felt something towards the club.
It was electric.
That Chelsea game, that was Everton to me. That was Everton to me, right? That day felt like Everton. Some people will understand what that means and some people won't, right? But that felt like Everton to me. That felt a connection where you go the game every week, and in the meantime, you're not worrying about all the little things, right, that we do. Since Moyes left, I've not really felt like that. When Martinez was in charge for the first season, I felt a bit like it. But we demand as fans a certain way of playing, right? And it hasn't really happened. Under Carlo, it didn't happen. Those games under Ferguson, certainly the Chelsea one, it happened. The response at our time against Leicester in the League Cup when they were all knackered showed you what he was all about. Going to Old Trafford and tactically putting in a great performance, right? And not worrying about dragging Moise Keane off and all that kind of thing. Not worried about what he said to the press, bigging up Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That mightn't be for everyone. So I'm certainly not saying that's the way it should be. I'm just saying I totally get what Baz is saying there. I'm 42. Baz is 49, right? He's seen the best Everton sides. I've seen the best Everton sides. I'm obviously younger. We've gone 26 years without a trophy, right? You're clinging on to the little things. You're clinging on to the little tiny things of what you love about your club. And when those things start to disappear, what do you do? What are you there for? Like I always say about Europe, going to Europe, when people go to me, it's a distraction. Is it a distraction? Is it a distraction? Going somewhere with your mates and having a laugh for a couple of days and experience something different that is different from just turning up on a match day. Going away with your mates for 2 or 3 days and having a great laugh and experience it watching Everton in Europe. And, you know, I was lucky I went to places like Wolfsburg and Nuremberg where I had absolute time in my life, right? Okay, they're not finals and they're not whatever. You know, I went to Benfica.
People my age haven't had, they have had one final.
I went to Benfica when we got beat 5-0. It was a brilliant day, right? The game was horrendous, but the day, that's what I remember. I'm not arsed we got beat 5-0. What does that matter in the pantheon of anything? We didn't win the trophy at the end of the year. We had a great time, right? Went to Wolfsburg with my brother-in-law and had a massive time. Come home, I was just dead for days. But I had a great time, do you know what I mean? That's what football's all about. When you get to a certain age in your life, you just start looking at those things. And there is a lot of emphasis put on, like, Everton needs to do this to do this. What if the realism is that we're never ever gonna do those things? What if, I always say, and we've said loads of times on this channel, between 2007 and 2009, Everton had a great team, right? It should have won a cup final if the injuries hadn't hit. It should have. I look back on that team and I go, that's one of the best Everton teams I've ever seen. It doesn't get any kind of, no one ever looks at it. But then you look back and go, that was boss every week. People were turning up. Tim Cahill, Arteta, Les Scott, Jagielka. People were running through brick walls. Your Kubu.
It's like a modern day school of science.
But you watched it. And even though you go, we're playing Man United, knife to a gunfight. You watched it. And you were like, I love this team. It'll fight and it'll scrap. Got on centre forward, put Tim Cahill up front. He'll do it for us. He did. You knew that the pitch on Martinez's first season, what that did was that had that, and then it brought a little bit of something else to it, and it was brilliant. And that's all I want. There's a super chat there, by the way. That's all I want, and I think that's what Baz is saying, is that you want to go to the match, sit down and go, today I'm going to get something. We mightn't win, but I'm going to get something, right? And I think that's where he's coming from. Not everyone will agree.
Yeah. Froome Pinto says on the super chat, nice one, mate. How large do you think Nuno was suitable for this job?
I think Nuno, he's got Premier League experience.
He'll go Palace, I think.
He had a couple of great seasons.
This would be the perfect job. Bless you. This would be the perfect job for him, wouldn't it? But for us as fans, we've had that before. We've had a Koeman who finished 7th with Southampton. We've had a Martins won the cup won the FA Cup with Wigan. It's we've had it. It's the same situation we've had before.
Do you know if you were in Italy or Germany or Spain, Nuno coming to Everton would be seen as just a perfect sort of thing.
It would be for him anyway.
No, for us, because what people look at it and go, he's a Premier League manager, right? 3 years in the Premier League, one season in the Championship,
which was a really good season,
where he built them, and they were like a Premier League team. For a couple of years, they were great. It's only this year he dropped off. He is quite an exciting manager. He sometimes certainly this year, I think he was style over substance. But in a lot of places, people look at him and go, well, that's perfect. He's a Premier League manager, and you need a manager. But I suppose it's like the standards you're setting for yourself, and like you said before, we've just had Carlo Ancelotti, and everything else feels redundant. Everything else feels redundant as we sit here right now.
Going back to before Ancelotti type of manager. Well, I said to Cam a few weeks ago, whenever Wolves announced that he was leaving, I said it'd be weird for Nuno to go to a club like Palace now, Palace.
But why is he going to a club like Palace?
Well, they've not got a manager.
Because they've not got a manager in the Premier League club.
But for me, I said he needs to be at that sort of like step up, like maybe a Tottenham, and then it's suddenly Everton would be that perfect club for him.
Do you think he's
for a neutral?
Do you think he's beneath us?
No, because who are Everton?
I don't think he's beneath us. I don't think
we finished 10th.
I don't think he's beneath us. Beneath us. He's finished. This was the first season he finished. He did finish beneath us. I think in the 3 years he's been in the Premier League.
And they were trying to the Wolves as a club was trying to do something.
Last year they had the whole playing in Europe and stuff and everything. But I don't think as a manager he's beneath us at all. I just think that a lot of people will turn the nose up at him because we've just had Carlo Ancelotti. And really, he's like a steady hand that we might need. Now that's up to the club, and they'll have to move fast. Because Palace are getting a great. If he goes to Palace are getting a great manager. By the way,
talking to them for 3 days.
Palace are getting a great manager if he goes there. Perfect for them, right? If Everton want that, they're gonna have to be quick. But what Everton need to do is decide what they want to be, right? And this is the problem. This has been the problem for the last 5 years. Everton deciding what they want to be. You can only be a club up there. I've said this loads of times. If you want to get there, you've got to go through the stages. You can't just leap up there unless you throw absolute serious money and your recruitment is perfect.
You can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore. So what you've got to do is go through all the layers of crap to get up there. It's happening on Patreon. Derek Houghton says, let me just throw Degsy's out. Hang on, Degs. Degsy says, one name dunk backed up by Baines, Cale and Kek Coleman on the treadmill. There you go. Degsy wants the band back together.
Well, Marley Hope says he wants Moisey back.
Fair enough.
Gareth Hughes wonder whether Carlo will be so outspoken about the Super League clubs now. Somehow I doubt it. Yeah, there is a bit of irony in there that he's joining the lead.
We've just had the Champions League final where both teams had signed up, and the owner of the team, one of the teams, is on the pitch giving it all the bifters, isn't he? And 2 months ago or whatever it was trying to get them out the Champions League because the Champions League. So don't worry about what Carlo's got to say about the Champions League.
It's all been brushed under us now anyway. Matthew Barrett, evening lads, what 24 hours? What a 2 hours? It's just blowing up.
Hey, let me just say, AJ, we'll have to do the music another day, mate. We can't be this. Can't be too.
Is it? He just put 3 James Blunt songs in there. Goodbye, my Carlo.
No, he's put Cry Your Eyes, mate.
Oh, AJ, no.
We'll do the music on another day, mate.
Well, Mathew said it's better that it's happened now, not next month. Yeah, absolutely. A decision needs to be made now about how this club moves forward, and it has to stick to the plan. It can't be Nuno or Howe. I can see the safe pair of hands in Moyes. But where would that leave Brands? If they're going to go and get Nuno or Howe, I don't think they get Howe. They go and get Nuno, they have to know what they're doing.
The thing about it is, right, I've heard this before. Moyes, right, whether you want Moyes or you don't want Moyes, Moyes would have come in if Carlo hadn't last time. And Moyes would have had to have worked with a director of football. And you know what? When he first worked with us, right, he was in his late 30s and he had the energy to run a football club, basically. Football's different now. directors of football take care of a lot of stuff that actually football managers don't want to do. They want to go in the training field and coach and all the rest of it. Well, I think Moyes would work with the director of football, because if he wanted to come to Everton, then he'd have to.
He's brought them all before Moyes anyway. When Moyes first took over, there's a lot of managers in the Premier League that would never take the training sessions. Moyes did, didn't he? Jake Ablett, hello lads. I can't understand people turning their nose up a big dunk. He's seen every possible kind of manager come and go, and will clearly know where they have failed. He smashed it as caretaker boss, and he would give us an identity. That is true. I'm not saying he's the best coach in the world, but people are quick to say he's rubbish when they know nothing about what he would be like over the period of a few seasons. We need stability and trust from every position at the club now, or we will never have it and just stay mid-table or even worse. Feels a bit classless from Carlo all this, but I'm not surprised. I feel nothing towards any players managed anymore apart from Dunk up the Toffees. There's pressure on, especially on the club, because we've got a new stadium. We don't want to be where we are now, moving to this new stadium.
Yeah, I said this before, when we get a new stadium, it has to be paid for.
If you want that Amazon documentary, imagine the journey. Can Everton win the Champions League in their new stadium? No. Can Everton get out of the relegation zone in their new stadium?
I think, as I said before, the board have to decide what they want to be. They've got to decide what Everton is and what it wants to be, but they've got to go through the process of that, and they haven't done that, and that's part of the problem. And maybe if they do, we'll get where we need to go. But
Jojo80 over on YouTube says bring back Big Sam.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's never happening.
Paz on Patreon, he says, it's better he goes now so we don't spend money on proving 27 to 30-year-olds to appease Carlo. He was the wrong manager for where we are as a club. Let's all go in on youth movement. Players.
David Ancelotti.
Yes.
David Ancelotti's lady friend. I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend. She's on. She's just put a post up on Instagram, basically saying goodbye to her gym coach. So that's all the confirmation you need. As we said today, this is not farewell. See you soon. So that's all the confirmation you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, that's all the confirmation you need.
Goodbye, my Carlo. Richard Parr, mad that fans are using a manager, choosing to snake his way out of Everton as a stick to beat the club up with. If he doesn't want to be here, bugger off then. I get why people are angry with him, but listen, it's Real Madrid. I don't blame him.
There's no point wasting your time being angry on him. There really isn't.
Just let's hope the club cracks on with it. The club can't do anything about it. But listen, as you said before, it may be a blessing in disguise. We never know. That's not saying that he should be leaving, but
you just have to get on with it. This is football. We sacked managers. We weren't loyal to them, were we?
No.
Now this manager's leaving it to go to Real Madrid. It works both ways. Works both ways. We're happy. We're all some of the players we want to get rid of, and then when one leaves us to go to somewhere,
we're not doing anything anyway till we get the recruitment right, and that's the be all and end all, isn't it? Get the recruitment right, and it comes down to a manager as well. And for the past 7 or 8 years, it's been awful. I suppose Bar Martin's first summer, I suppose. Gareth Hughes, on the plus side, it's better happening now than after the Euros, at least you have time, yeah. Dick L, I remember last week I floated the idea of Carlo going to Real Madrid and Cam dismissed out of hand. Well, you've made him look a right fool, Dick, haven't you? Funny how fast things can change. It's just, yeah. We were saying last night, wouldn't we? Said, no, there's no way this is happening. Well, you said it actually, not me.
Who? What?
You said last night you saw it and you said it's not happening.
Which?
You said to me when you saw the rumour, it's just Spanish media.
I said it was just Spanish media, didn't say it wasn't happening.
And I said to someone on Facebook, it's not happening. But I'll look through.
I said it was the Spanish media, but
yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not overly fussed Carlo was leaving. I still think there's an argument that any other manager would have been sacked for finishing 10th. I don't think so.
59 points is not, you know, nothing to be sniffed at, you know.
Especially with this team.
I really wonder. Do you know what, right? I was thinking to myself yesterday, right? Would Pep Guardiola of Jurgen Klopp done much better with this Everton squad? And I don't think they would have. I really don't.
I think trying to drive a car without tyres.
I honestly think people overestimate how good this team is. I think it's dross.
It's
dross.
The slowest team we've had in years.
It's got no pace. It's got no power.
It's just a lump of different type of players pumped together that need better players around them, but every single player needs good players.
It all comes down to how good you think this team is, and I think it's awful. I really think this Everton team's awful.
Yeah. Joe Cody would honestly just get Moyes back now, couldn't care less anymore. Steve Hardy, first live I've been able to watch for quite a while for personal reasons. Lost my mother-in-law. Sorry for your loss, Steve, mate. Can't say this news has improved my mindset. Disappointed after him saying he was staying for the long term, but has made some truly baffling decisions over the recent months. So it could be a good thing, although that all depends on who the replacement is. Yeah, we don't know yet, Steve. Let's just let the club get on with it. Paul Sinclair, right now that Carlo is pretty much buggered off. We need to get Ped in charge. That's a winner for me.
No, thank you.
I don't think Ped could contain the stress.
No, thank you.
Do a quick refresh.
No, thank you. I think you always want to get, when you do lose people, you always want to lose them on your terms. That's always the thing. And even if you lose people, and that's not sacking them or selling them straight off the bat. That's doing things in a time for you. So, if Everton could somehow get a manager in before Carlo was announced as Real Madrid manager, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You always want to do things in your way, but this will be a bitter blow to Everton as the board, because they've put a lot of stock in Carlo as being the man in charge, and he's very good with the media. It makes it look like Everton are going somewhere. I've seen it myself. People always say to me, people saying even yesterday, with Carlo, we're going in the right direction. We can't not but win things with Carlo Ancelotti. And I think the club have used that. I mean, it's interesting that the deadline for the season tickets was yesterday, doesn't it? That's interesting.
Get everyone to re-sign.
That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have signed up anyway, because that's just what I do. But
well, Dick L says, do you think Carlo will be interested in taking any Everton players with him? DCL or Richarlison at Real Madrid? Godfrey? I don't think so, but Richarlison liked a post on Instagram from Fabrizio Romano saying Carlo's set to join Real Madrid. So for that, I couldn't care less whether he goes. I think that's so unprofessional. Love him as a player. Well,
but you've got to remember
so
that
unprofessional that
professionals, they are professionals, but they're also people, and we like them when they are human, rather than when they are professionals. This when you see people's tweets and stuff of like, oh, make sure you check out the new Adidas boots or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever dross it is. What we like is Richarlison taking the mick out of Liverpool fans, and stuff like that. So when they're human like that, we love it. But the minute it goes against something, at the end of the day, for Richarlison or anyone at Everton, they're thinking, I like that fella, and look at that, he's got to move to Real Madrid. Good on him. Good luck to him, because that's all that matters to them. Richarlison is this will be another manager Richarlison has worked under. This will be the third manager now that he's worked under. People told us when Silva was here or he was leaving, that'll be the end of Richarlison. And now it's, will he follow him? It's like, well,
in 3 seasons as well. AJ No says, what duo would make better Everton managers, Ped and Baz or Ned and Cam? Have you seen our FIFA career mode? Answers there for you in front of your eyes. Adam says, really gutted to lose Carlo. It would be a lot less gutting if I trusted the key decision makers at the club. Hopefully this is the time for a change. Astro, honestly, I feel like I want to go hide in the basement. The upheaval and constant revolving door of personnel makes me miss being skint with Moyes in the dugout.
Yeah.
Because at least there was fighting spirit.
At least there was an
pitch.
identity. There was an identity, wasn't there? You knew what you were getting. You knew what was happening.
The recruitment scheme was just so stable and worked so well for what we were, for the money we had. We were the best we could be for a club. I've only been a Blue for 11 years, so those weren't the best years I've known besides the brief success of Bobby Brown's shoes. Success? One decent season. Gazoo says, my worry more than Carlo is going per se is we will not be able to attract players of higher calibre unless we get another world-class manager, which I can't see, unfortunately. Totally gutted, I'm not going to lie. Gaz, I just said, watch the FIFA career mode. If Everton are taking this seriously. Richard Parr, by the way, Baz chose a great time to go on holiday. He did. He'd have probably been sat there before, like chilling. He just checked his phone.
He's just deleted this tweet, he said, because he couldn't be bothered all the notifications. You know, you can mute the thing, Baz, if you want to. If you put a comment out, you can mute the conversation. I do it all the time. Just stick something on Twitter and then just mute the conversation. And
Marley Hope says, bloody hell, why has Baz gone ginger? Where have you been, Marley? Have you been in one of the Mandalorian's carbonate things? Adam Lilford, heard it often, said on here that Carlo needs the best players to win and is not a manager that drags everyone's out of players. Given that the best players would not come to Everton and our finances would not allow that anyway, was it not always destined to end in a failure and poor fit for us? Our finances are fine. It's the FFP and the P&L rules that don't allow us to sign good players.
We've been irresponsible. We've been irresponsible with the buys, and therefore we are in the position where we are now, where we're basically stuck. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment.
What happens when you sign 4 number 10s?
Well, that's it. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it is what it is. And I don't know whether it's going to get any better. I think that's the general consensus, though, isn't it? I think a lot of people feel like it isn't going to get any better. I think that's the problem.
Stelio Contos on Patreon says, I'm sat on Crosby Beach just thinking about him. Watch James Blunt on his little Bluetooth speaker. Gaz Hughes, Godfrey out, 4 right backs in, baffling.
I couldn't care less.
I suppose it's second one of them for the centre-back option, and Trent can play midfield. I don't know why I took Trent.
It's a box ticking because of
La Liga champion right back.
It's a box
Champions League.
It's a box ticking exercise. Yeah. That's all it is.
AJ no, apparently Mings is better than Godfrey. Left-footed, isn't he? Probably the only reason. Playing a back 3 on the left.
Who's asked? Godfrey gets a summer off.
James Shorting, gutted lads, feel betrayed, to be honest. Yeah, it is a shame that Godfrey didn't get the call-up. Ruse, can't believe the El Clasico next year is going to be Koeman versus Carlo.
The Ev Clasico.
We are like the good luck chuck off football manager. They'd be like, how did we get this job, eh? I know it's never going to happen, but I would love to get Gerrard in just to stir the pot and ruffle the feathers of our neighbours. Also, Amazon would be crazy not to do a documentary on Everton. We are a horror, drama and comedy show all in one. Not sure whether I should laugh or cry myself to sleep tonight. Good night, fellas. If you can sleep, that is. Paz Mystery. Also, hopefully that means Gylfi won't get a new contract. I think the club will give him one, won't they?
I don't know.
RCO2. Mina as well. You think they'll give Mina a new contract? Think this has an impact on it?
No, I don't think it does. I wouldn't worry about any of those things for the time being. A new manager will come in, and the club will have already made decisions on people like Mina. I'm pretty sure. That's where the continuity comes in from having a director of football.
I want to give this Andre Gomez a try. Brands will be like,
no, well, he won't. No, but if they've already made decisions that they're selling players, that will be relayed to whoever the manager is when he comes in.
We made the decision to sign Gay before Koeman was announced, didn't we? Sure, we signed Gay before Koeman was announced. Our show 2, lads, when we need to get a Conte or an elite to step up, and coming manager, Howe and Santos are nowhere near good enough for us. Jake Thompson, is Rafa Benitez available?
He is available, yeah. There's a super chat there. He is available, yeah. He's been kicking his heels since he left China.
That Russian kid again on the super chat, nice one, mate, says, how about Van Gaal, boys?
No. Not for me.
Excellent coach, but
not for me.
RCO2, also, what about signing? Surely we should get a manager who improves talent so that we can buy in that market. Well, we've got brands for that, haven't we? To get the talent who's on the way up already. I suppose that's down to coaching, isn't it? Obviously, we'll be bringing coaches in. Because Carlo will take some of that back.
Well, yeah, he'll take his some only for a start.
Carlo. Baines might get the uplift. Doing well with the kids, isn't he?
He's not really a coach, though. He's more other things. He's more like analysis and
musician.
Stuff. Yeah, he just sits there, plays songs to them.
Yeah.
Here's one off my latest album, guys.
Yeah. So this one's based on the John Lennon cut. Dick L, Sky Bet have got Nuno Santo as their favourite for the Everton job. With Eddie, he's also the favourite for the Palace job, though, isn't he? With Eddie Howe, David Moyes closely behind, Antonio Conte 10-1, Frank Lampard 12-1, Duncan Ferguson 14-1. Imagine Frank Lampard, Everton manager, living in Liverpool. I don't think that will ever happen.
Everton just need to be quick. They need to be quick. They need to make a decision and go for the person they feel is their number one target and do it as quick as possible. If it's somebody who's at another club, get in there now. If it's someone who's about to go to another club, get in there now. I'm not going to sit here and say I want this fella and I want that fella. I couldn't be arsed because what's the point? What's the point? So whoever Everton wants, they have got to get in there and do it, get it sorted. It's as simple as that, right? Okay, so I'm going to London tonight because I've got to do something tomorrow in London. So Cam from the Mighty Blues and Ned are going to be steering the ship tomorrow, which sounds like I'm going to have to be calling their lifeboats out. But
they'll come back and the building will be gone.
It'll be like, that emoji, that GIF from Community when he walks in with the pizzas. It's just fire all over the place, right? So, if I get a chance during the day and stuff breaks, I'll try and do stuff on my phone.
Get you one on Ninja, can't we?
I'll get on the Ninja when I've got time. If I've got time, and I know I'm done.
Yeah, we'll be either live on Patreon or YouTube tomorrow.
Listen, it'll be live depending on the situation. But if you're on Patreon, you're guaranteed.
We'll be live anyway.
Guaranteed. So the lads will be here tomorrow running the ship. You've got to do the news, as well.
Fine.
Yeah.
I've presented before, No,
this must be what it feels like when people leave the kids at home for the first time. Don't have any parties.
Everton signed James Carragher. Great news. Oh, by the way, Carlo Ancelotti's left also.
I'm
just going to go in flames tomorrow, literally.
So they'll be here. So go on, just do a couple of
Go on, let's wrap it up. Brands is here to make footballing decisions. Why am I hearing about who Moshiri wants? Who he wants shouldn't matter. He's just here to put money in, take money out. Give Brands full control. That's from Danny Monarchs. Richard Folks, big dunk all day for me. We'll let Brands do his thing and bring young, hungry players in. If not, him go balls in for Conte. Give him a wedge. I just prepared for him to leave in 2 years, but with the club most likely in Champions League. Nick Boswell, thoughts on Dunk taking over? It's an option. Simon S. Brace Girdle, just give it Big Dunk, thinking about this was always going to happen, so we'll give Big Dunk a chance to build. If we don't, we might lose him too. Which won't be the worst thing in the world, because he'll probably come back anyway. If he leaves, it might be for...
Apparently, there's an announcement at 6 o'clock, which is like in 1 minute.
Yeah, like 30 seconds. Jay Fairman, I'll tell you, that was a pleasant weekend, not having to worry about Everton for the first time in ages. After today's news, I'd rather take another pummeling from Man City. Joe Fairfield, I love this club, but would find it hard to convince any player manager to come play for us. We won't win anything or even get to a final. We won't go down, but we won't finish in the top 6 either. Probably finish 11 between 8th and sound good. Imagine. Degsy says, hi guys, knew something was going off. Nothing updated on the website since season end. I didn't expect this from him. Only a month ago he was asking for an extension. I'm gutted I really am. What on earth do we do from here? Like 6 o'clock. Let's
We're finishing in 2 minutes anyway, regardless of what happens, because we've spoke about it enough. We knew he was going. Or we knew we're all just refreshing, aren't we? Right, Carlo Ancelotti has left Everton. He has left Everton. That has been confirmed. Carlo Ancelotti is no longer the manager of Everton Football Club. Everton confirmed that Carlo Ancelotti has left his position as the manager of Everton Football Club.
I'll get that out.
So that's done.
That come from Everton, yeah.
That is over. That is done. So there you go. Everything we spoke about in the last hour is being confirmed. He is now the Real Madrid manager. He says, I have complete respect for everybody. He says, I have complete respect for everyone associated with Everton and hope they can achieve the exciting opportunities they have in front of them. While I've enjoyed being at Everton, I have been presented with an unexpected opportunity, which I believe is the right move for me and my family at this time. There you go. It's happened. As you got it on the socials. Come on.
Where's that mug?
Don't worry about the mug, just get it out.
Oh, this just feels so surreal.
There you go. It's done.
Yeah, we'll have a reaction on Ped out straight after the live.
It's already out, mate.
Is it? Yeah. There's a reaction from Ped straight out.
There you go. Carlo Ancelotti has left Everton Football Club. He is no longer the manager.
We'll be live tomorrow with the announcements of Sean Dyche. You're not messing. Yeah.
So that is official. That is absolutely official. He has left Everton Football Club.
Dropped like a bombshell.
But at least it's done. At least it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. That's the main part. That's the main thing.
Oh, it just doesn't feel real, does it? It's mad. Madness.
Anyone want to buy a cheap mug?
Yeah. You can trade them in for we do trade off for Sean Dyche mugs. Right.
There you go.
There you go.
Right, we are done because it's been confirmed. Carlo Ancelotti is no longer the manager of Everton Football Club. They've even just sent a notification, and he's gone back to Real Madrid. And it's sad. It's sad, but it is what it is.
Where do you think this leaves James? Think he'll be gone then?
Yeah.
No.
James, I'm sure, will leave as well.
Just we'll start seeing some strong links over the next few days. Get our new manager in quickly. Get the transfer. Just get the summer over with. Oh.
Real Madrid have just put a video out.
I heard that Carlo was in Madrid on Friday.
You didn't hear like you had someone on the grapevine.
Yeah, my strong sources.
So they've just confirmed at Real Madrid by putting a little thing out. Little video.
Few people getting angry in the comments here.
There you go.
Get Ted Lasso says Saint Domingo won.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I'd like to stick around and talk about it, but I really can't. What a bad timing from Everton Football Club.
Yeah.
Terrible time.
There'll be a reaction video with Ped anyway on YouTube.
Yeah. Ned will be here tomorrow with some more reactions and stuff.
Yeah. We'll be live to get your reactions anyway.
We'll get your reactions tomorrow.
Get some comments in.
Get your comments and all of that. I might do something live later on. But when I get to London, if I can.
On the L.
If I get internet, I'll do something. Yeah.
Travelodge have Wi-Fi, don't they? Have BT.
Right. There you go. I'm just looking for the thing to get out. There you go. We'll see you all later. What a sad day. See you later.